thing about music in the film is you, in a way, you're talking to the audience. It's another voice, the voice of music, and it works in many ways. I spoke with Cy Enfield, who was the director, and I said, well, let me see it. And they said, well, it's in fine cut, because I usually see things in a rough cut stage, and this was fine cut. The only thing that was to be done was the score and the dubbing. But he did record, on location, some Zulu hunting songs.
While I was up with Chief Buthelezzi's wife is the great-granddaughter of Ketchewea, and she taught to all the rest of the Zulus the heritage of the Zulu nation and all the old songs, keeping it going for the future generations. I came back down from there with a whole load of reels of sound, of poetry and various Zulu war chants and what have you, and from that John Barry listened to all this Zulu music, and the theme of Zulu came out of the original indigenous Zulu music.
If you listen very carefully to the wedding songs at the beginning of the film, the second song has a kind of repetitive chant which underlies the score. You can hear, if you listen very carefully, the repetitive beat which forms the basis of the main title theme.
One was very interesting, and it's one that I actually based the main theme on, which was this is repetitive da-dap, da-dap, and it just went like on the original record. It was like a chant in a dance, and I broke it down to da-dap, 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 da-dap.
This.
An extraordinary scene when the Zulus come onto the hilltop and there's this huge row. You've got to be very careful that you don't overdo it, and you try not to be obvious, because there's nothing worse than if something like that and you go, ta-da, you know, you're killing the moment. Subtlety is a wonderful virtue. So you create maybe an air of suspense. When you see something like that in real life, you're taken aback. It's like, oh my God. You know, there's a thought process. And then when they start to move, then you move into it.
The most memorable sequence for me in terms of the music comes with the Zulus' first appearance and the subsequent first attack, where we see the Zulus for the first time penetrate the defences. This is the longest single piece of music in the score. It's about 6 or 7 minutes, and it incorporates most of the thematic material.
We recorded it in the original CTS studios in Bayswater, which was this old Masonic hall, I believe. And it had very high ceilings, and it had a very wonderful natural sound. So the engineer really just had to get the balance right. Didn't have to do a lot of fudging. So it had a very authentic sound. It's a full symphony orchestra, so you've got everything. You've got a full woodwind section, there's a full brass section. It's wonderful to have all those people. The mistake is if you use them all at the same time, you just think, oh, I'm going to, have a ball. You use them very specifically. It was getting a point across, a military point across, and was not unpleasant. It was music which inspired or lifted anybody into liking the situation, strangely enough. People actually like war through music, I think, in a strange way, the heroic thing of it. I think it was considered at the time an epic movie, and the music has to go along with that size. So I remember seeing it, and everything was working. You just know it. There's no restlessness in the audience. They're with it, and it's something you really feel. If it came to me today, I think I would do exactly the same thing. Hopefully when you get it right, it's timeless.